It's nice to see Metroid getting some more love. There was a 7-year gap between Other M for the Wii and Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, which was a remake of the Game Boy game Metroid 2 Samus Returns. Return of Samus. I'm not going to count Federation Force, because if I want to see a hot blonde get screwed by a bunch of men, I'd go to Pornhub. Dread was conceived as a Nintendo DS sequel to the 2002 GBA Metroid Fusion, and it still is a sequel to that game, just not on the DS. But they wanted to recreate that dread of the SAX from Fusion, which was pretty creepy. But they didn't want it to be a horror game, but more fear-based. They did try to make it in 2005, but the technology of the DS was too limited at that time. And you heard right that this game has been sitting on the back burner since 2005. This game was in development limbo for 16 years. But we finally got it in October of this year, and the game does not disappoint. It looks great, runs at a buttery smooth frame rate, although there were a few times I had frame rate slowdown in some weird places, and sometimes there was places where nothing was going on. The game is really atmospheric, and then there's the dread aspect, which I'll get into later. If you played Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, then you'll be very familiar with this game, as it plays and controls exactly the same. You can shoot in all directions, you got a free aim where Samus will stand in place and allow you to aim more accurately, and there's a melee counter where an enemy will flash just before an attack, allowing you to hit them with your cannon and then one-shot them. You'll notice I'm doing the counter melee attack a lot. I'm trying to use missiles, and I don't know why I'm doing this. I think it's muscle memory from all the years of playing Metroid Prime, as Y was the missile button, and for this game Y is the melee attack. The real challenge for this game comes in the form of the Emmys, robots that patrol certain sections of every area that you go to. They can hear your footsteps, and once they see you, they will not stop and will hunt you down relentlessly. If they catch you, the timing to counter them is incredibly precise, and if you fail, it's an instant game over. This is where the dread of Dread comes from, because the areas they patrol in is an eerie quiet, and they can only be destroyed by the Omega Cannon, which is a temporary upgrade that you get. And first you need to destroy their faceplates by overheating them, then you need to charge up and then go for the head. And I eventually did stop playing to get this review out because I got stuck on a boss. And while it's not a hard boss, because all of its attacks are telegraphed and are pretty easy to dodge, except for the one part where it uses fans to blow energy at you, and that's actually the part that I'm having a hard time with, but this is one of those types of bosses that hit stupidly hard. Approximately 100 units of damage for some attacks, and standing in its vomit does about 50 units per second. There is a way to instantly kill him, but it's very precise. And my skills just aren't that refined in this game yet. Like all Metroid games, the biggest aspect is exploring, getting power-ups, and using those power-ups to go discover new sections in old areas. So there's a lot of backtracking as you solve the overarching puzzle that is the entire game, as you figure out where to go in order to get what you need to continue your adventure. And the story takes place after Metroid Fusion. It turns out that the X-Parasite is on another planet, and Samus is sent there to destroy them, as she's the only one immune to the parasite due to the Metroid DNA she was infused with at the beginning of Metroid Fusion. But she encounters a Chozo warrior that disables all her upgrades as per Metroid standard. So she has to recollect all of her upgrades and escape the planet, as the Emmys are now after her and her alone, setting Samus off in a new adventure. I know that this is a pretty short review, but I think that this game proves the old adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it, as it sticks to everything that's worked for the 2D Metroid games since the very first, and it doesn't try to reinvent the wheel like so many other game franchises do. And I really did enjoy this game for what I played, and I did play a lot of it, until I got to that one boss I got stuck on. But I'll eventually get past it, and while the series' roots are in the 2D run-and-gun platformer type, I still prefer the first-person shooter Metroid Prime games, and I can't wait for Prime 4. But this is a really good game that should be able to hold you over until that one comes out.